Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. I thought I would sit down and do a video for you guys and gals. Get a sip of my Mootopia. Real sip, real milk from a real cow. Eats real grass. Maybe, I don't know if they fed grass. I don't care. Over to the point. Someone said, oh my God, Jason, I can't believe you used the word isolation the other day. I guess I should clarify that. I said recently, I've kind of said, look, I've taken a more mature, holistic position on all this stuff, talking more about balance, being able to train for multiple purposes, that we should all be well-rounded in our fitness journey. We should look good. We should be strong. We should be fit. We should be athletic. Right? These are things that are part of physical culture. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with deciding, hey, I want to be well-rounded in my goals. Now, other people, when I've said that, have chimed in, well, we should include reading and stuff, and I agree, but that's not what we're talking about with physical culture. Although I will be the first to say having a balance between the body and the mind is a good thing. Okay, I think that's a good thing. I think that's a positive thing. And there again, we should be promoting that, but that is outside of the context of a fitness and strength channel. Okay, now all of that being said, I've started using some of these terms, and here's the reason. It's not because I think that they're the correct terms, but here's the thing. I feel like it's a communication divide, and I feel like if my goal with what I'm doing is to get a message out, to help people, to grow outreach, to do these things more and more, I can't feel like I'm talking down to people. I also can't have the snooty, this is the correct terminology and you're being a bro, because this doesn't work. When you are talking to people, you have to speak their language. Okay? And when dealing with that, my audience is going to be the layman. I have to use the nomenclature and terminology they are using. So yeah, I'm going to use words like compound and isolation. We know that isolation is not really the word used in exercise science. It's single joint and multi-joint. And we make that differentiation because a lot of even single joint exercises work 3 or 4 different muscles. They're technically compound movements, but that's not the context. When people say isolation, unless they literally mean, I think I can take the other muscles out, well, that's when you say, well, you really can't, but that's okay. It's still putting the focus on it. So, when people talk about a curl, they'll call it an isolation movement, right? Because their goal is to work the biceps primarily and any other muscles that they build as a secondary stimulus. They're not necessarily trying to work the front delts or the upper traps. They're going to get work and they will possibly grow from that, but that's not their goal. Yes, we're aware you can't take the brachialis or the radial brachialis or the forearm flexors completely out of a curl, even a concentration curl, even strapped to a bench. Of course you can't take them out of it. But they are of secondary importance. We are generally curling, particularly if we're using a supine grip, we're curling for the purpose of building them biceps. Curls for the girls, bro. So, why not use the term? Because people understand it. Because otherwise, what am I doing? I'm being condescending. That's not good for communication. I feel like when I have done this historically, it may cause people to tune out. Because at that point, I'm then projecting that I'm more concerned with being right and proving my intellect over simply communicating a message in a way that people can understand for the purpose of educating, informing, and helping that person. Okay, what's better? Is it important for me to be intellectually correct, or is it important to help people? I'm going to say it's a lot more important to help people, right? Help people to learn and reach their goals and better themselves, because that's what it should be about. Okay, so we understand that same thing. I'm going to use words like intensity. We know in exercise, those who follow like exercise science, intensity means weight on the bar. In other words, squatting 500 pounds is a higher intensity than 450 pounds. But that's not how the layman defines it. They define it as how hard am I working? How close to failure did I get? for those people, training with intensity is focus, pushing sets really hard near the bleeding edge of failure, or to failure, or in some cases beyond failure, right? If you do rest pause, you've gone beyond failure. If you do a sheet rep, you've gone beyond failure. Okay, because failure means you cannot complete another rep with good form through a full range of motion without a rest. Right? That's what failure means. So they define intensity as how much effort, how much am I perceived, so perceived exertion. That is how they're defining intensity. Was that a really hard-ass set? And we can gauge intensity based on how much effort did I push that set. How much absolute effort did I put into that set, not that rep. And that's okay, because again, this is the language they're speaking. Conditioning. We know that that's a bodybuilding thing, that they're talking about how low is your body fat? How ripped up are you? How shredded are you, bro? How many veins do you have popping out? In the sports world, it means your conditioning, your cardiovascular conditioning. You can be fat and have high conditioning. And that's okay, and they'll say the same thing. Conditioning and shape, all those things are generally defined with that. But do you know where I feel that they get it from? It comes from things like boxing and sports. They'll talk about being really conditioned. They're like, well, yeah, these guys got all lean and ripped up because they did tons of conditioning work. They burned a lot of body fat. Like, generally speaking, that's the case. Some of them they're doing so much conditioning work that they end up getting ripped up from it, because they're burning through an enormous amount of calories and they're burning through body fat. So then that kind of made that thing of, so the whole point of being associated with being in shape came from the side effect of all the conditioning work, and getting into shape ended up getting people lean. They don't get them good abs, nice abs and everything. So then that then carried over being associated with it and so on. And you know what? That's okay if we're going to communicate. Again, I'm going to try my best in the future with this stuff to communicate in a way that people understand, so that I can convey the message, right? You've got to speak to people in their nomenclature, in their slang, in what you're doing to your intended audience. And ultimately, let's be fair, my intended audience at this point is no longer coaches, exercise science students, nutrition students, right? I certainly want them in my audience, but at this point, it's like I'm trying to reach, a larger body of people, right? I'm trying to reach a larger body of people. Trying to reach the person who wants more general fitness advice, or they just need help reaching their goals. Right? Their goal is not to be a coach or a trainer. Their goal is to get results in themselves. So again, you've got to speak the same language that other people are in the community. You have to. And so that's what I'm doing. So you're going to notice I'm doing that more. So I've noticed people are chiming in. So I thought I would clarify what I'm doing and why. It's not me flip-flopping on my positions on stuff. It is me saying I'm changing the way that I communicate to make it convey a message better to the average person. It just makes communication smoother if you speak in a manner that they understand. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.